What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan Becker. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're talking about budget gear. Even though it's technically not budget gear, it's inexpensive gear, but it's super high quality gear. Let me just start off with the criteria. How did I even pick this gear? First off, the gear had to be a true 3-season gear. This stuff will absolutely keep you safe down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit and will keep you warm, like comfy warm at 40 degrees. Second, the gear had to be built to last, to get the biggest bang for my buck and be able to use it for several backpacking seasons. Third, it had to be lightweight. Fourth, it had to be comfortable. And fifth, this had to be gear that wasn't just for like the new backpacker that was just trying out backpacking for the first time, but this had to be gear that would be for the person who's maybe been backpacking their whole life, but they're looking to like upgrade at a really good price. Oh, and one more thing, this gear had to be used by me. So I had to actually take it out into the field and test every bit of it before I made this video. Let's kick things off with the backpack, which was by far the most difficult piece of gear to buy because backpacks are very expensive if you want a decent backpack. But with the help of my subscribers, I found a backpack that I've been talking about for a very long time, and it was half the price of what I've ever seen it. So the backpack is the Granite Gear Crown X60 from drop.com. So why did I choose this particular backpack? Well, I thought about a lot of different materials, like should it be a Dyneema backpack? Should it be X-Pack? Should it be, what should it be? I wanted the backpack to weigh around 2 pounds because I needed it to be lightweight. And I wanted it to have a good capacity, which was more than like some of the really inexpensive off-brand Dyneema backpacks that are out there. I needed it to be a backpack that would carry a good amount of weight because I knew that people won't just put what I'm telling them to put in there. They're gonna wanna go for their weekend trip and bring a bunch of extra stuff to make the weekend more fun. They wanna bring their comfort items, right? This backpack has a ton of organization. It's got pockets all over the place. It carries 35 pounds worth of gear comfortably, and I can attest to that because I purposely packed this thing out to the brim with at least 35 pounds worth of gear just to make sure that it could hold it. I hiked 15 miles in this thing to camp. I mean, I brought like fishing poles, I brought lures, I brought an extra tarp, I brought a 2-pound heated electric vest for an upcoming video, by the way. I brought all kinds of stuff that was completely unnecessary for the trip just to make sure that this thing could do what it said it could do. Also, one other thing that you're really gonna wanna know about this backpack is that it's on a website called drop.com, and that means that it's a limited release of this backpack. So it's in like collaboration with Drop. So there's only a few that are gonna be out there. So if you're looking to get this particular backpack at the price that it's listed at, which is a absolute steal, at 90 bucks, you cannot miss this deal. Make sure you pick up this backpack if you're looking for a new one. All right, let's talk sleep system. This was another one that was really difficult. I ended up picking the Paria Outdoors Down 30 quilt. This quilt only cost $145 and is comfort rated to 30 degrees. This quilt comes with all the features that you'd expect in a quilt. It's a zippered bottom. It'll tighten up around your neck. It's got buckle points for pad straps, and it's perfectly wide enough for sleeping in a tent. 700 fill down. For $145, you're not gonna be able to beat this. But if a quilt isn't your thing, they do sell a sleeping bag as well, and I'll make sure I put that in the description below, along with all the gear that I'm gonna talk about today. Okay, the sleeping pad that I chose was the Climate Insulated Static V Light Pad. This pad is R-value rated by them at 4.5, but the ASTM rating, which is the new standard R-value rating, is actually 1.9. But if you also add the Gossamer Gear 1/8" sleeping pad to this setup, it's gonna add another 0.5 R-value, which is gonna put you right at about what the Ultralight is, and I've had that Ultralight down into the 30s and been totally toasty warm and fine in it. The Gossamer Gear pad will actually work as a sit pad. You can fold it up and sit down at break time or around the campfire. This pad is also 23 inches wide, which is 2 inches shorter than the pads I typically like to sleep with, but I didn't have too much of a problem on the 23-inch wide pad, so it was totally fine. And laying on my side, because I'm a side sleeper, my hips did not hit the ground at all. This isn't one of those cheap $40 Amazon pads that you're afraid to sit on. This is a quality sleeping pad from a quality company. So that's the sleeping pad that I chose. Okay, you gotta have a pillow, right? So I chose the Trekology pillow. This is a pillow I've used for several years. Awesome little pillow, 3 ounces. It's not as comfortable as an actual pillow, which is what I've upgraded to, but this thing only costs you $15. So the shelter was a tough one for me because I know that there is a lot of different people out there from a lot of different backpacking backgrounds. And I wanted to find a tent that would be the most versatile tent for any situation, be very easy to set up, even for the beginner, and still be lightweight. So I chose the Paria Outdoors Bryce one-person tent. Now this tent is a fully freestanding tent, and this is a wide one-person tent. So this is like a 1.5 person tent. This thing is super lightweight. It's a double wall shelter, and it only costs $140. At that price, this tent comes with a footprint, which is a fast fly footprint, so you can actually set this thing up with just the poles if it's raining, and then you can throw the rain fly on top of that and then put your net tent in the inside of it. What I would do in this situation is I probably wouldn't use that footprint, and I would just go out and get a sheet of Tyvek for another, $5, $10 off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below for that. That'll save you definitely some weight on there, and you won't have to bring all those extra stakes, and it'll still definitely do the job for you. What did I pick for a cook kit? Okay, so I picked the BRS stove. Now, I've talked about this stove in other videos saying how much I don't like this stove. It's not my favorite stove. It really isn't. It's not the most reliable stove, but it will absolutely do the job, as proven by so many people out there that use it. Even guys that thru hike big long trails, they rely on this stove for their thousands of miles of hiking, and you really can't beat it for the $15 price. The pot that I chose is the Stanley pot. This pot is a 710 milliliter aluminum pot that weighs about 7 ounces, but it's a really nice lid, a great handle. You can strain with it, and you can use it like a mug. You can put enough water in it that you can fill up like a full mountain house and then still have enough water left over for maybe a cup of coffee. And the thing is legit built like a tank. I mean, you could probably drop this off a 10-story building and it would survive. The spoon I found is my new favorite spoon for sure, and I can't believe I never knew about this, and it's the Ozark Trail long-handled spoon. This thing weighs about 1 ounce, so next to nothing, and it only costs you about $1. It's very flexible. It's long enough that I can get to the bottom of those mountain house bags, and if I lose it, it was $1, so big deal. All right, the puffy jacket that I chose is the Decathlon 800 fill down jacket. This jacket is sort of like a carbon copy of the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer that's $200 less in price. So the weight difference is like maybe 2 ounces, under 2 ounces difference. I mean, not much at all. And I have been wearing this jacket on and off for the past couple of months, for the end of winter into spring here, and in all different temperatures. I can tell you, going back and forth between the Ghost Whisperer that I've got and the Decathlon, there is no difference in warmth. The amount of down fill that's put inside of the jacket is the same as the Mountain Hardwear that I can tell. The only difference is in the nylon and some of the zippers, and that is what's causing some of the weight difference. This is the biggest bang for your buck that you're gonna get for this awesome, awesome jacket. And then for a hard shell, I chose the classic Frog Togs Ultralight rain jacket for a million reasons. It's only 6 ounces. If it rips or tears, it's not a big deal. You can wear it like a hard shell over your really nice new down Decathlon jacket if you don't want to hurt that jacket, like if you're sitting around a fire and you don't worry about embers burning that down jacket because you got that cheaper rain jacket on that you can throw on there. And it's baggy enough that you can layer up and use all year long, and you got a lot thicker mid layers, so it's not constricting. So it's just a great ultralight rain jacket as a hard shell. For a multi-tool, for a knife, for a cutting tool, I chose the Swiss Army Classic SD. It's got tweezers, which was used this past weekend for pulling off ticks on me. It's got a toothpick, it's got scissors, it's got a small file on it, it's got a little knife, and it's all I've ever needed while I was backpacking. And then for a fire starter, Mini Bic lighter, you can't beat it. Super reliable, cheap, at every gas station ever. The battery bank that I chose is a battery bank that I've had for several years, and you can still find it on Amazon for 20 bucks from a quality company. And let me just say this about battery banks. Make sure that you're buying from a known company like Anchor, because a lot of these other cheap companies that are out there will list that the battery bank has a specific capacity inside of it. And it's not. It's not a very well-regulated industry, but Anker is one of the companies that lists what it actually is rated for as far as capacity. It's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, should be able to get you through the weekend if you're not, filming like me and you need to charge batteries and different things like that. And it has a quick charge on it, so it's pretty rapid charging for your cell phone. Okay, the headlamp that I chose is the Energizer 260 lumen IPX4 rated headlamp. This thing only costs $15 with the batteries included. It's got a ton of different settings on it. It's got the red light, which is like a total must for me, and it's variable brightness, which means that I can kind of set the brightness at any level that I want. It's got a floodlight, it's got a spotlight. Now the only downside of this headlamp is that it doesn't have a lockout function. So the workaround is just to take it and open it up and pull out one of the batteries and stick that along in the same pocket as your headlamp. And then when you get to camp and it's getting close to dark, you can pull out the battery, pop it in there, and you're good to go. Now, if you can get past it not having a lockout function, it's an awesome headlamp for 15 bucks. For water filtration, I chose the tried and true Sawyer Mini. This thing is only $20, which is what I can tell is probably the cheapest water filter out there for what it's able to do. And then for water carry, I just chose smart water bottles, and you can use one of those as a dirty water bottle to fill up and to filter your water. Now there's a lot of stuff that's not on this list that I think are really personal items. Some of those would be like your shoes, your boots, your mid layers, your hats, your beanies, that kind of stuff. So that's not on this list, and that's all really stuff that you probably already got laying around at home that you wouldn't have to go out and buy anyway, so that's what I didn't include on this list. And then I also threw some optional stuff on this list, like a medical kit. So a lot of you guys have medical training and a lot of you guys don't have medical training. So a medical kit is really subjective to what you're able to do when you get out there. So you don't want to bring a big old medical kit with trauma kit and all this stuff that you have no idea how to use because it's just going to be dead weight. I will include a medical kit that is absolutely sufficient for most situations out there, for most weekend warriors and the most places that you could possibly be hiking. In the description below, it's the one I use. It's the Adventure Medical Kit 0.5. Okay, so the total weight of all of this gear that I mentioned to you is under 12 pounds and costs about $700, completely retail price. This is stuff that's not on sale. Like, this is the actual price of this stuff. So when you go there and you click these links, you're gonna be paying what I told you you're gonna be paying. So that's pretty cool. What did you guys think of this list? Did you guys like it? Do you agree with it? Do you think it's worth 700 bucks? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys have other alternatives to this budget gear that you want to tell people about, let us all know in the comments below as well. And we'll see you guys on the next one.